If you're in your 20s, you should probably be working on all four of these areas as soon as possible. If you're not already working on at least one of them, you'll have three more to add, more things to learn, more things to study, and more things to make your life better, I guess. Welcome back to the channel, it's LKE, and today we're talking about the four pillars of the good life. And today, especially, we're going to be going through the things such as health, wealth, love, and happiness, because these are like the four pillars that basically make up your life. Whether you're acknowledging of that or have heard of this concept before about the four pillars of the good life, it's something an old internet marketer would talk about, Tai Lopez, and despite all like the kind of pyramid scheme, multi-level marketing stuff, and all like the kind of scammer online course guru nonsense, those were the principles I kind of took with myself when it came to my own life in terms of what things can I look at and effectively work on, make part of kind of my structure and impact my life and just be ultimately a better person in some respects, or at least feel that way, right? Now, here's the thing. You can't always give 100% to all four at the exact same time because, sometimes work is going to take over. Your health might drop. Sometimes your relationship just needs a bit more attention, or your happiness might disappear for a while. You might be through a period of depression or sadness, and that's just normal. But the goal isn't really to kind of perfect these and kind of get them all in equal 25% splits. The goal is to basically become more aware of these areas, because when you notice like something might slip in your life and then it feels like you might be going backwards, and then you're also trying to continue to develop other areas, it can be a challenge. And obviously as you get a bit older, you then have more that gets added to your plate in terms of work, personal life, things just kind of catch up to you. When you're young, life kind of is not an autopilot depending on your background, but there's a bit more of like a sense of linearity in terms of your life, where you're going from point A to B. But when you're an adult, it's like point A to Z, B, D, F, G, H, I, like you're going all over the place. And sometimes it's nice to kind of bucket these things into four very distinct areas, so that as and when things do change or your life kind of goes a different path and you're going left and everyone else is going right, you know that these are the four things that can keep you grounded, keep you working on things that are just always going to be with you, always going to be carried with you. It's not like you're working on something superficial, you're working on things that just simply can't be taken away from you. Now that brings me to health. The health is wealth kind of thing. It's cringy, it's corny, but it's true. Like, as someone who's been going to the gym since I was about 16, I started BJJ at 21, and I definitely caught the bug, but it's really impacted my life in terms of health and making sure I'm fit, staying healthy, staying on top of these things. But staying physically active just teaches you more about life than people realize. You'll notice all the time, like the people that kind of incentivize you to do more healthy things are typically the people that are healthier people. They lead healthier lives, and they probably themselves go to the gym, or they train a martial art, or they do marathons, or they just do something, right? The people that will then try to discourage you from that are the people that are overweight, lazy, don't go gym, or never step foot in the gym. They don't understand why you're so obsessed with health, or just trying to be, a healthier, fitter version of yourself. You have nothing wrong to feel about when that's you. I'm definitely one of those people, and ultimately it teaches you how to be disciplined. It teaches you how to show up and be consistent. It just teaches you to show up when you don't feel like it. I can count, countless times when I've turned up to the gym and I didn't feel like it. My motivation was on a minus level, and I just thought, oh, I could easily have skipped today. Those are the ones where if you turn up for yourself, you're building that gene of getting hard done. Because if you can do it when you don't want to do it, imagine how you'd feel when you are doing it and you're more motivated, you're happy to do it. That's usually like the force that stops people, is like that fake motivation of like, oh, I'm not motivated to go to the gym, blah blah blah. And it's like, well, you would be more motivated if you start turning up. So you just have to start turning up, putting in the reps, being consistent, and proving to yourself that you actually can turn up for yourself. These are really important factors that maybe when you're young you don't really take for kind of the value in front of you, but in reality when you get older you start to value consistency, being disciplined, and just having your kind of sense of routine, because life doesn't really care about how you feel. Sometimes you still have to show up. Like, you might be having a bad day at work, but if you still show up at the end of the day, you'll feel like you've done something outside of like work. You've done something for yourself, something that just can't be taken away. Like, I've always seen it this way as well. Like, your body is the house that you just can't change. Like, you can't get rid of it. You have to just work on it. You have to start changing it in other ways rather than a full wholesale change. You can't just change it from, the foundations downwards or whatever. Maybe you have to just work upwards from it and go, okay, if something breaks down, it's going to become harder. So now I just need to keep working, keep going forward. Because in your 20s, building this habit and like looking after yourself is probably one of like the top ROI kind of things you could do outside of course investing in S&P or crypto, whatever it's going to be. But in terms of like things that just can't be taken away from you, unless obviously like God forbid you have a chronic illness or you have some issues, but the health aspect is just something that can't be skipped upon. You can't look over it. It's something that people probably undervalue and overmine, which is like kind of, I'd probably say like health is something that people are like undervaluing and overmining because they're like, oh, I will probably have this throughout my 20s, then into my 30s, then my 40s. In your 30s, you're going to be having issues. Then in your 40s and 50s, they just get exacerbated. And obviously, as you get older, you're at the end of your life. And that's just where you want to be basically kind of paying the dividends of those investments you made in your early teens, late teens, in your 20s when you was being healthy, you had the routine, you went gym, all that kind of stuff. So make sure you do keep that up as you get older because it only gets harder. Now, I kind of structured these in order, and secondly, we're going to be going through wealth. This one is a bit complicated because this is very much determined on your background, your upbringing, the opportunities you had growing up, the influence that kind of impacted your starting point, whether you was born with a silver spoon or you was born to a middle class or you was born to a working class, whatever it's going to be. But at some point, at some stage in your life, you'll have to decide, am I going to take control of this area of my life? Or am I just going to let the world kind of take control of it and let that just run its course, and whatever happens when I die has happened. Between now and then, whatever happens, happens. I don't like that mentality, and for me, I feel like stability might not even exist properly anymore, especially in like this new era of like all the redundancies, unemployment being at the lowest it has been in the past 5 years in the UK recently. It's just not the right climate to kind of feel this way, and sometimes you just need to go, F it, I'm going to just hit record, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, whatever it's going to be, right? You just need to kind of think about what are those things going to be in your life that add stability from a wealth perspective. When you're fresh out of school, university, college in America, it's about just general income. Whatever you can get, grab a hold of it. As someone who's been working since they were about 15, then has recently been made redundant, which you'll have seen that video that came out a couple of weeks ago, it's been something that I kind of took pride in when I was working young, investing, putting money away in crypto savings, and kind of building a bit of like a get out of jail free card. And obviously it's paying dividends since having been made redundant. But if you weren't in that mindset of I'm going to save as much as possible, invest and put this away for the future, for that rainy day that came, the rainy day did come, believe me. That skill is literally about development, understanding that if I can keep producing, keep saving, keep investing, it just builds up a buffer. And then also you can build some sense of freedom, because one thing that you got to think about is like, how can I become more valuable? How can I earn more? And how can I create leverage? These are like the three things that are really kind of impacting my next decision, because when I'm looking for a next job, I'm like, I want to make sure I'm taking a step up. I want to earn more, and I want to be able to leverage that for the future, whether that's to invest or have more time, or then look at other ways in which I can make income outside of those jobs. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to be in corporate England for as long as I can be. I want to be in and out, right? So wherever I can do to do that, outside of obviously doing multiple YouTube channels or investing, whatever, what can I do in like the real physical world to kind of leverage that and make as much as possible? And that might be through your job, it might be through a business, a side hustle, freelancing, investing, or just having multiple income streams. These things are super, super important. I'm not here to like, tell you how to invest or give you financial advice. That's beyond my kind of capabilities, despite kind of being degree educated and doing as much as possible in this space. But I'm not going to be here to just tell you what to do. Like, I'll give you advice, but I can't give you direct financial advice as saying to do this to get this outcome. But just understanding that when you learn wealth generating skills early on, it gives you options later in life. And for example, right now I'm going through this period where I'm looking for jobs, whatever it may be, and people might think, oh, you haven't got a job. And it's like, well, I've got a shit ton of money, I have investments, and now I'm thinking, what can I do next to really leverage up, so that when you think, oh, in 10 years, oh wait, look, you're now 34, 35, and now you got this, and that, and you have this kind of freedom. Yeah, I've been investing and putting this away because I knew this time would pay off. But people don't have those 5-10 year time horizons to really expand upon and go, if I just do this for this amount of time, I will achieve it. And even something simple like long-term investing in like an index fund, in the S&P 500, in the VUSA or VUAC. I'm personally in VUAC. It's a way of just protecting yourself against the uncertainty of the world, but also just putting your money in a place where in the future you can access it, reinvest it, or just use it for whatever you need to use it for. Life is going to go up and down, there's left and right. So for me personally, I kind of started learning about money quite young. Loads of books I've read and kind of things that I've absorbed to just do that, because my parents want the best with money, and I realized like if I followed that path, ultimately follow the path, right? It's not stupid kind of things to say out loud, but when you do, you think, if I just kept doing that, well, hey, that's just going to be what it is. Like, I'll give you a quick anecdote. Like, I didn't have loads, but I was one of those kids lining up outside stores for Supreme or Off-White releases just to kind of resell them and make money. Like, I'll try and find some pictures of like me outside Supreme getting a box logo in London, or just like general Off-White things on raffles. I had some money from working, and then I used that to like kind of double it down and put it into like shoes or reselling. And don't get me wrong, when that money was not in my account, I was stressing. But when it came back, it was all worth it. Don't tell HMRC. That really taught me something fundamental in business, though. It taught me supply and demand. It taught me risk. It taught me how to be patient as well, of like looking and observing for opportunities. Those lessons really compound over time. And for example, now when you go into like financial markets and crypto, whatever it's going to be, you can start to really apply those kind of skills into those areas, and then you have a much wider lens to kind of take from. And it's a skill that people probably think is just going to come out of nowhere, and in reality, if you just keep pushing forwards in those areas around learning and investing, understanding how money works, or just going, okay, I'm going to get paid, let's say $3,000 a month, $5,000, $10,000. Okay, how am I going to percentage that up and go 20% here, 5% here, whatever it's going to be? You have to think about this every time, because despite you getting paid at the end of the month, you have to pay yourself still. You still have to put your money into investments. You still have to pay yourself for the future, because the money does run dry unless you're on an insane income. But the percentage of that, very, very low. Average people on that kind of 50 to 70k dollars, pounds range, which is actually fairly good in today's economy. But in reality, if it's just yourself and you have no one else you're living with, then it's really tough. So learn to break it down, understand how to invest, put your money aside, and kind of build that snowball for the future. Now this moves me swiftly onto love. Well, this is one that's probably like the hardest areas, especially in modern life. It's something we address a lot on Seeker Distractions, so make sure you do go check that out. Always in the description. That's the channel me and my partner work on and post videos once a week and loads of shorts, so go check that out. One thing we've always covered is how like dating apps, social media, constant comparison is basically like the aim of the game, right? There are thousands of potential partners at your fingertips these days, and boy, if I was on those apps, I would absolutely hate myself, because you are chasing after the same people that other people are chasing after, right? And it's just, you're never going to really break through the noise, because everyone can go online, they can post like how their life is, might be fake, but oh, I'm in Miami, I'm in this place, I'm in that place, I'm renting this car, like all that nonsense you'll see on Instagram, TikTok and everything. It's just, that just adds to the noise. And in reality, like, I met my partner when we were about 16 or 17 and probably been dating since 2019, which is a madness to say out loud. But what I've learned in this time is like, love isn't just like something you'll feel, it's kind of a skill you have to work on, because there's areas within love, like you have communication, you have compromise, you have patience, you have commitment. These are all things you have to learn, because when you're in a relationship, it's not just about yourself, it's about the partner you're with, and about being 50-50, but also being 100% all in for it. They require effort, they require growth, you have to be mature. And obviously when you're younger, it's kind of harder to stay in those relationships longer time, because you're growing as people and you're going through change. You might be going to university and they go to another place, or you have different paths, they go left, you go right. But in ours, we made it work, and we have continued to work on it. If I look at us now versus 7 years ago, obviously 7 years ago at the time of recording was, things have just only gone better. They grow, they develop. You just learn how to be a better person for yourself. Don't get me wrong, there will be challenges, and if there isn't in your relationship, then I mean, fair play, but everyone will have their ups and downs. And right now it's like about, when you get it right, having someone in your corner just makes it easier to navigate life. And when you find the right person, it will click, it will make sense. And for example, I know a lot of people in this space that are creating in this space as well talk about it when they're in their 20s as well, and they don't have the same sort of situation with relationship, but they have other things they've been working on. These are the pillars that they've worked on and prioritized over others. But if you can start to prioritize love and find that, it helps kind of go into the happiness thing, it helps go into wealth and the health aspect, because you can find someone to help you with food and going to the gym. And then you can also go, oh, we have dual income household, now we can invest and build for the future. These things all add and stack, right? So you just need to learn, like, obviously pick wisely, and make sure you're not just picking because of some social media thing or whatever, like you're on Hinge or whatever like the apps are today. Just make sure you're finding the right person, because I have no experience on these apps, but it's not something I would ever kind of fathom having experience with in now, because I'd rather find someone, in the real world, whether it was like at university or school, or just when you're going out and about and you just ask that person out, you just have to do that. You're not going to find your wife in the club. You're not going to find her on any of these apps. You might do, but the percentage likelihood is very low. So just make sure you find the right person, and you can start to then build those other foundations. They all feed into each other. Whether or not they become apparent, they will do over time. Now this brings you on to my final point around happiness, right? Now you might think, if I get my health sorted, make good money, and I find love, I'll be happy. I guess you could answer that question with a yes, but the answer is more than likely going to be no, because those things absolutely do make your life easier. You'll probably feel a bit, proud, secure, stable, but happiness itself, it's fleeting at times. It comes from within. It's not just about your relationship with, health, wealth, or love. It's also about the relationship you have with your own mind, feeling connected to the world, feeling present in your own life, and feeling like everything you're doing every day contributes to something a bit more. Enjoying your small moments, making new friends, and having hobbies, having a sense of purpose, or just knowing who you are, what you stand for, and why you're doing something, right? And honestly, this is the area I definitely find the hardest, because every day is a bit different. Sometimes you need to learn to slow down, be more present, and appreciate things whilst they're happening. In this most recent kind of, let's say, 6 to 8 weeks, sorry, not months, I wish it was, but being like unemployed and having the time to be more reflective and go, oh, I know why this is happening, or what isn't happening in my life, and things that I need to change. And immediately I didn't feel like the most happiest when I found out. Obviously it's not the best news, but it's like I've now had the chance to take a step back, be out of work, and go, oh, what's the things that are like drive me forward or make me feel happy? Whether it's like having a sense of structure, and obviously if you are working, then you gotta find happiness in like the kind of silly little things that happen throughout your day or during your work week or the job. Like, find things that you intentionally put into your life to feel happy about it, because you'll just be chasing something on the weekend, and then you go, it's Sunday, got the Monday blues, and now I'm starting again. Why not have something every day to look forward to be happy? Like, for example, me and my partner, I guess I'd say, we have hobbies. We have a bit of purpose around those hobbies as well. Like, we'll go to the gym because I want to get better at jiu-jitsu, I want to feel healthier, I want to feel fitter, I want to make sure that when we're in our 30s and we have kids and then they're going to hobbies or jiu-jitsu or whatever it's going to be, they go in gymnastics, I can turn up and be present, but so can my partner, and then we're like basically adult kids. I would love to be that way, right? So it's something that you have to kind of pick and choose. Like, you can't have too many hobbies, because otherwise you're just going to become really time poor, and you won't have the commitment or ability to be committed to those hobbies. Like, those are things I would love to do and love to try, and I think maybe that's like where you should do that in your 20s, and like learn what the things that are going to make you happy, that keep you happy throughout your like 30s, 40s, 50s. Because if you're not finding those, you're not working on those, by the time you're in your 30s, you're going to be the typical person watching Netflix after work every day, watching terrestrial TV, coming home, have a beer or two, have your food, go to bed, reset. It might be something you want. It's not something I don't want it. I don't chase that. I definitely don't want that. So make sure you're working on something that kind of keeps you towards that happiness. You can be happy every day, you might not be, but you just got to find those things that kind of give you those sense of like joy, happiness, being a bit fulfilled. And I can't tell you the answers because everyone's going to be different, but like, if you start working on all these areas and then come across happiness and go, oh, what are the things that do make me happy? You'll start to write those down, understand your hobbies, the things that are going to kind of push you to be happy, be a bit more fulfilled, and be kind of a bit more even in each 25% area of the happiness, wealth, love, and wealth. So you just got to keep working on those things, and it's not something that's just going to happen overnight, but like, it does compound, and all of these areas definitely do compound the more you work on them. So in closing, your 20s, they're not really about having things figured out, because no one has it figured out in their 20s. And if you see it this way, and this is something I've really been learning in terms of perspective, when you're in your 20s, you're just a baby adult. Like, you're only like a 5-year-old in adult terms. You're 6 years old, like, as you're getting older, it's like you're still learning, you're still going through the trials and tribulations of being an adult, being made redundant, losing a job, getting a job, and not liking it and hating it, and going, okay, I need to find something else. I thought I liked it but didn't. Oh, I'm going to start this thing, I'm going to do that thing. You have the time and the ability and the freedom to do so right now. Not to say you should go and put it all on black and hopefully you win in Vegas. I'm not saying that. But if you're constantly working on your health, your wealth, your love and happiness, you're eventually going to get 21, you're going to get blackjack and you're going to win it big. Like, you're going to give your future self a massive disadvantage by not working on these areas. Don't get me wrong, it's not going to be perfect because no one has this perfectly figured out unless you're, really rich, you're very healthy, you have a great love life and you're happy. I mean, that's like the perfect example, right? But that's a 0.0001% life. Things that just simply aren't accessible to most people. Obviously they can be if you put in the graph, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but in reality, if you want to be like kind of grounded, you need to realize like you need to work on these things within the day-to-day life. Otherwise you are going to chase after things that just simply won't make sense, and ultimately you're chasing progress, and over time that compounds into a really cool life. And if you can keep doing that, keep chasing it. It's been Luke, it's been LKE, and make sure you do leave a like, comment, subscribe. Of course, go check out our Secret Distractions channel. It's in the description down below. Make sure you go check it out. We got some cool ass videos. We have a lot of change in direction this year, so I'm hoping you guys would, love that stuff. And we'll see you in those videos soon. Been good to speak, and hopefully you can start working on all of these areas, and you can start kind of making that change for your life. It's been Luke, guys. I'll see you soon.